Welcome to On a Call With, which is something different from October Red. At October Red, we pride ourselves on being different and non-generic. On the Call With podcast offers something more personal for our guests. A fly on the wall, so to speak. Happy to have you here. Without any more delay, welcome to Episode 1.
Johnny, how are you? First and foremost.
Thank you. I'm good. Long time no see or speak.
I know. Johnny, I've been seeing you like everywhere, on everyone's channel, and I'm like, oh my gosh, he's doing it again. He keeps on, I've got abandonment issues when it comes to him.
You know what? I don't know how they catch me. They must catch me in a smart way because they just ring me from these blank numbers and I pick it up like, oh, this, not what I'll do. Make me a winner. I'll do that. But no, it don't work. So they just catch me out. But I've been busy, man. I've been away and I've been
really
doing things. No, I'm all right.
What things you've been doing, Johnny? Anything you want to disclose on the phone?
I went to America for a couple of weeks.
Jamaica?
No, America.
Oh, America. Okay.
Yeah. And I've just been busy, just making most of summer. You know, making most of a little bit of a break until the season kicks off again.
Yeah. Well, you know what prompted me to give you a ring as well is I saw your grass cutting video, and it's like, he's out there again. He's doing his grass cutter, mother cutters, and I was like, nah, I've got to reach out to him. But Johnny, there's so much to cover. Sorry, you were saying something. Now you was just about to say something. Go on. Sorry.
No. Talk to me. I'm trying to think. What was that word you used? There was a word you used. Is it bait?
Yeah.
Something bait.
Clickbait.
Clickbait.
Yeah.
No.
Is it working? You got the ladies in your DMs.
It's the old grannies.
Hey, Johnny, I'm 75 years old.
Come and cut my grass.
What grass am I talking? Oh, which grass am I talking about? Is your lawn trimmed, Johnny? That's what we all want to know.
Always. Don't mess about with my trim lawn. Yeah.
Johnny, boxing. Obviously, I'm going to cut straight to the chase. I haven't spoke to you about young Daniel Dubois. Obviously, you know, Alexander Usyk, Daniel Dubois. I enjoyed the event. It was a really good event, but you were obviously watching it. It's your words, Johnny.
You know what? I was actually there. I was there in one of the hospitality suites upstairs. It was kind of nice to hold a different position and just be a fan and enjoy it like everybody else could do. And you can make noise, you can have a drink, you can cuss out, you can swear, you can do what you want. And so it was actually all right. I think Usyk, you know, how he timed and dropped the fight. I think he timed it well. He showed bravery, intelligence, and calculated pressure. Once he figured out what was in front of him after the first 2 rounds, that's when the calculated pressure was switched on. Yeah. And he kind of, I didn't say he beat the fight. I mean, he chopped the fight out of Daniel. And Daniel's come in for a lot of criticism and stick. You know, talking about his heart and his guts and that sort of stuff. One thing you've got to say is, you know, when you get in the ring, it's hard. You've got to be brave doing that in the first place. If a man's beating you up to the point you're thinking, boy, you know what, this man's just got my number, then you're making a decision whether or not I can hold this down or not. I think the way Usyk was with Daniel, he actually, once he fought him the first time, he realised the job would have been easier than he actually anticipated, which is why he did a better job the second time around. Yeah. And Daniel realised that in the fight and thought, this guy's got my number. Yes, he could have got up. Yeah, without a doubt. He made a decision, regardless of what the backlash would have been, on the decision to stay down until the referee finished his count and get up and walk off. Now, most warriors won't actually get it. They won't see it. They don't. Will actually get it, but people aren't warriors. People aren't fighters or former fighters. Yeah. They've probably no right to call him a quitter. They've probably no right to question his heart, because unless you're in there, you know, it's fight or flight. You know, some fighters that want to go in there, they say, yo, you've got to take me out the stretcher before I'm done. Daniel made a conscious decision to say, I'm out of this. So he's going to come under some stick from other fighters. But he's, you know, it's not right that anybody that hasn't fought think they can give him stick.
One of the people that did give him stick is obviously Don Charles' ex-fighter, which was Derek Chisora. I think he went on to TalkSport and he was quite vocal about it. I've also heard a snippet from the Fight Is Right, so shout out to Spencer Fearon and Tunde Ajayi. And Tunde proper went for his neck and said, how can you say that about him? Like literally tore him apart. But what did you think about Chisora? Chisora's, I don't know, it's almost like he was saying that he wished him well and that he did that, but then he went on to TalkSport and called him a quitter. Did he say to Daniel Dubois' face? Did he say, yo, bro, you quit? You know, he said that. I said, oh, you can come again. So is it okay to say, to be nice in someone's face and give them that pat on the back? And then as soon as you go on another channel, oh, they quit.
Well, you see, what's nice is if you're going to say, you've got to, whatever you say to a man's face, you've got to, whatever you say behind a man's back, you've got to say it to his face. Otherwise, you're two-faced. You're coward. And I think Derek had every right to say that because that's his opinion. He's thinking, you were conscious, you were up. That means you made a decision not to carry on. So that equates to him quitting as far as he's concerned. You were conscious, you was up, you could get up. As soon as the referee finished his count, you were all right suddenly. So from a fighter's point of view, you understand what it takes to get off the floor. You understand the decisions you choose, you make, the sword you fall on in regards to staying down is going to be painful. So Daniel's going to get that stick from fighters. So with Derek saying that, I understand where Derek's coming from. Okay. I'm a former fighter, so I've been on both sides of the fence. And you know what? I knew when I got in with Carl Thompson for the world title, I swore to myself I will die in the ring before I come out of here.
Did you?
And I look back and I think, how can I be so stupid to make such a statement to myself? Because I would have. You know, and I think, oh my God, it's, you know, why would you say that, Johnny? It's nothing's worth that. So as a fighter, when you're an active fighter, you'll make those bold promises to yourself until you step out of it. You think, shit, what was I thinking? And I do think that. So with Daniel, you know, he was brave enough to say, you know what, I can't take any more money. You know, you've got my number, you've got me. You know, so I'm out. I'll take the stick. And that's the decision he made. And listen, I've got every right to say, nah, he quit. You know, because I used to fight. I was a fighter, but it's just hard to. I think using the word quit is just a bit. It's a bit harsh, and again, there's a different meaning and understanding for people that box and people that don't box. So it's hard, but I see both sides of the fence.
Well, when you see the end of the fight, it's literally Don Charles is looking to throw the towel in at the 11th hour. And I'm saying this because it's almost like Don Charles wants to save the criticism that he knows.
Save his blushes. That's right.
It's like I don't want my Daniel to get the stick, so I'll take it. So I'll throw in the towel. What do you think about that as in regards to a coach? You know, you've had the illustrious trainer Brendan Ingle. Talk to me about the comparisons in the coaching style and when Daniel's clearly had enough. Yeah, go on. So,
the coach knows the fighter. Yeah. You know, he sees sides of the fighters the public don't see. He sees when his fighter's going to give up. He sees when his fighter's going to back down and his gum shield and dig in. Don looked at, in my opinion, Daniel and probably thought, you know, is he going to back down his gum shield? So it's a decision he's got to make, and it's a snap decision he's got to make, because if it was a wrong decision, he threw the towel in. Everybody then say, you didn't give him a chance, Don, you've done blah blah blah. Don was throwing the towel in to save Daniel's blushes, and he was giving him as long as he possibly can to you know. 8-9 seconds is a long time when you're laid on the floor and 20,000 people are watching you, and Don's gonna make a split decision, you know, and unfortunately, you know, the camera was on Daniel on the floor rather than on Dan with the towel. So his attempt was futile. His attempt really didn't cover Daniel's back, because Daniel, you know, he made that decision. He was sat up there like he's watching TV on his couch. And then once the referee got to 9, he got up and walked back to the corner. So you know, he still had some fight left in him physically. But he didn't have any fight left in him mentally. And
what takes it out of you, Johnny? Because, like you said, it takes a certain amount of bravery for you to climb through those ropes anyway. So somebody like me sitting on the sidelines shouting out "quitter" is disrespectful. I won't do it.
Yeah.
But what happens? What happens in there when you're brave enough to go in the ring, but you're just getting battered? But something in you won't go to the death, like you said. You was prepared to die in there.
Yeah,
what's the switch, Johnny?
Because I'll give you an example. If you've never boxed before and you watch it, I'd have done this, I'd have done that, I'd have done this. Then you get in the ring and someone punches you on your nose. All of a sudden, it's real.
Yeah, I've had that.
Oh, no, I don't want any of this. Because it's real. It's not talk. It's not something you read in a book or watch someone else doing or watch on TV. It's real. So that's for the civilians. That's a check. So all these people at Muhammad Ali with their mouth, get in the ring, and then when you get in the ring, get smashed in the face. That one shot will give you a realization check. So for a fighter, the fighter is, you know, you've got to think that you're superhuman. You've got to think that you're above anybody and everybody. But then all of a sudden, when the veil is removed, and then you think, shit, ouch. No, that's not me. I'm out. And it's human nature. You know, if everybody could be a fighter, if it was that easy, everybody would be doing it. Yeah. But it's not that easy. So once you've got to get in, especially if you're world champion, you really believe you're world champion. This is how arrogant you've got to be. Yeah. There's 7.888 billion people on this earth. Mm-hmm. When you're world champion, you have to truly, sincerely believe you are the best fighter on the planet, above 7.888 billion people on this earth. Now, so the reality is, so you've got to look at it and think, you know, if you look at it like that, you're thinking, boy, that takes some arrogance. That takes some self-belief. Yeah. That takes some. So that's why you see a lot of these former world champions that was top dog struggle with life afterwards, because they think, you know what, I'm just a civilian. I'm like everybody else. So when you're in a fight, mid-fight, and you're getting rough, to the point where it brings reality, it gives you a big reality check. You think, and nobody can tell you any different. They can't tell you any different. You know, but when you've got a fighter's head on your shoulders, with that fighter's mentality, you just, you know, you don't think about these things, because if you think about them, then you become more of a civilian than you are a warrior.
But then I can flip it. He went in there. To me, and I just want your feedback on it, because the way I see it, Usyk is obviously a phenomenal fighter. And obviously, Usyk has been in there with him before, and we know how that fight went. Mm. Daniel Dubois went and, you know, literally obliterated Anthony Joshua, like the Kingslayer. That was the nickname he was given. He was front foot. He was aggressive. It was Joshua that didn't have any answers necessarily for Dubois. But when he went in there against Usyk, who's beat him before, Usyk literally turned up the gas. This version of Usyk to me was a different, more aggressive, more front foot, more sit down, legs are more solid on the floor, and was literally the bully in the ring. I don't know what did you see? Because I saw a different Usyk again.
No, because they both learned from the first fight, and they had intentions from the first fight. They had a game plan from the first fight. It's who could pull it off. Usyk went in there respecting Daniel far too much. The first fight. Okay. And then after the fight, thinking, you know what, I could have dealt with that boy a lot easier. And so he had a chance again, and that's exactly what he did do, because he knew. Because when you try something for the first time, you test the ward, you see what it's about. If you watch every time Usyk's boxed somebody twice, he beats them up better the second time around, because he puts them on a bigger pedestal than what they actually are. Yeah. And so that's where the problem is. And so again, you just got to think to yourself. So Usyk did, like Daniel, he learned from the first fight. With Usyk, he learned from the first fight, so he's thinking, all right. But Usyk did this as well. And so you've got to think to yourself, you know what, my man, you know, we're looking at Daniel saying, well, he should have done this the first fight, should have done that the first fight. You only have one chance to make a first impression, and if you with Usyk, and if you don't take advantage of that, he's going to bust yours the second time around.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he did with Fury, AJ, and Daniel. That's what he did. He's saying, oh, I know what you're about. I gave you too much props last time. I'll show you. Let me show you this little something.
Yeah.
You know, that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, phenomenal work. I mean, it was enjoyable. I mean, it's good that there is a fallout because it always gives us a talking topic. It was almost like Daniel Dubois was handed the belt. He got a chance to defend it, and then he lost it back to the man that literally said he was gifting it to him in the first place. But you know,
it buoyed him up. It buoyed him up. He just said, "Yeah, that's my gift to you because you ain't going to get off. You're not going to get it off me legitimately
by winning it."
So no matter what the governing bodies say, let me just tell you, this belongs to me, and I'm gifting it. Here's my little gift to you. And it was smart. It was a snap. I was like, oh gosh,
yeah.
You know what I mean? It blew him up.
Next topic, Johnny, because we can talk about that all day long. I think it's been covered enough over several media outlets. I want to speak to you about Elisoro and Aloys Jr. on the weekend. Queensbury card that was down in Bournemouth. Now, the reason why I'm mentioning this, Aloys has been quite vocal about taking on Sky's Viddal Riley. So I'm interested to hear your thoughts on that fight. Obviously, we're talking about the Cruiserweight division, your division. How did you think that fight went with Elisoro? Not as easy as you thought it was.
No, not at all. And Zoro's he's a decent competitor, but the thing is about being consistent, being busy. You think to yourself, you kind of measure a fight, and you think to yourself, we've seen him in his last fight. We've seen you look at the progress and consistency of a career, and I think time off makes a difference.
Okay.
And you clearly an underestimation. But you know what? I just think. You're looking at Viddal Riley again. I don't think he's consistent enough in his career for us to see the best of him, to get the real measure of him. But when he's been in there, there's one or two times you look at him, you think, has he got it? Is there something more, a few more gears to step up to world class level? They're not consistent enough to see him consistent enough to see him grow. The time off they have in between fights affects their progress.
Okay. So how do you think that fight would go with the two of them? Because one of the key points was going into the final round with Aloys, and he was listening to Ben Davison. Ben Davison was giving him instructions, and he says, "Okay," or something along the lines, "I'm sorry, coach." And then Ben Davison said back to him, "Well, it's a little bit late for that." Something along those lines, not verbatim, and almost like saying you haven't done enough. As such,
I think Viddal is the best cruiserweight in Britain.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he just needs the opportunity to prove it. I think Viddal, has the best. He just needs a chance to prove it the guys that are above him need to take him out of the picture now before he gets more and more experience. I think potentially he's the best cruiserweight in the UK.
Is that the fight that should happen next?
Yeah. And why shouldn't it happen next? Listen, with the last year or two, we've gotten used to the point of getting fights that should be made. That should be made. So why not? This is on a domestic scale, domestic level. If these guys have got any ambition to do anything more than what they're doing on the domestic scale, they've got to get rid of these situations. There's no I'm waiting. You look at Fury AJ, this argument's still rumbling on, and these guys are past their best.
Yeah.
And the argument's still there, and realistically, is it the business is it the fighters that don't want this fight, or is it the business? So now now with the young guns coming through, prove yourself at domestic level. So when you get into world level, you think, all right, this is what I'm about. This is what I know I can do.
Well, speaking about Anthony Joshua, he posted something in his story. I think it was a couple of days ago, and I screenshotted it and posted it on my page. And it says, "Shout out to Matchroom Boxing for all you have done for me. and continue to do for me. Long may you reign supreme and keep giving the fighters opportunities to become champions, and being great. 12 years ago, I signed with you, and 12 years later, I will throw my last punch with you. Royalty is loyalty, etc., etc. And to finish on this, if I could start from scratch, I wouldn't change. So what do you think of that? Was that a little bit of a retirement speech?
No, it's a reflection speech. That's what it was.
Reflection, I like that. Talk to me.
Yeah, reflection. He's looking at his career, and he's probably, he's at the stage where he can box if he wants to box. He doesn't have to do this. He's achieved. He's probably looked back and looked at what he's achieved and thought, what, I've actually done pretty well here.
Yeah.
And he has. No matter what you say about him, good or bad, he's done well. And he's probably looking at his career thinking, I've done well here. And I've made a move with a squad that actually did the best for me. So it's a reflection. He's like giving appreciation where it deserves. And I think him and Eddie, I think they were a good team. I think Eddie, and regardless of what anybody else says on the outside, because if the fighter, as in AJ, wasn't happy, then you'd hear about it. I hear many whispers and stories about fighters not happy with the management or the promotional company. Never heard about that from AJ.
Yeah.
So that's it. He's happy where he is, and he's happy with the results he's got. And you can't actually not Matchroom because look at what they've done with him. Look at his resume. Look at his career. So he'd probably sound pretty ungrateful if he said anything else. Man ended up being a 2-time heavyweight champion of the world, a multi-millionaire. If you tell the nose without, nothing's going to please you.
Yeah, and it's a different point of view, and like I said, it's always good to speak to fighters because you see inside their minds. I am sitting on the outside, and to me, Johnny, that sounded like a bit of a farewell speech. So it's good that you put a different slant on it. Throwing my last punch with you doesn't mean that's imminent. It means I will throw my last punch with you, whether that's now or 2 years' time. So that's an awesome slant that you put on that cryptic message, because AJ is definitely known for that. Another thing that I wanted to ask you about before we come to a close is obviously the fight that's been ordered between Frazer Clarke and Jeamie Takivi. There is some suggestion that there's a bit of doubt whether Jeamie Takivi's going to be in that fight. And to like a coverall, I don't know if you can say or whatever, what is going on? We've been waiting for an announcement from BOXXER. Everything's been radio silence. They're posting fighters. We're hearing that fight's been ordered between 2 heavyweights that belong to BOXXER Sky Sports. Can you shed any light on that and let us know what is happening? Because it's been radio silence, and I've personally reached out to Ben Shalom a couple of times now and said, hey, what's going on? Can I get you on the channel, etc., etc.? But there's nothing.
I can't speak for BOXXER. I think BOXXER, I don't know what their situation is at the moment. The situation is at the moment with BOXXER, and they may be sorting out their business end of their business before they can make any bold decisions. I can't speak for BOXXER.
Can you speak for Sky?
In regards to Sky, I know Sky's appetite for boxing has never changed. It's been exactly what it was for the last 40 years.
Yeah.
They're very shrewd, very smart, very calculated in what they do and how they do it. So, and they work at their pace. They work at their time, and that's what they have done. The decisions they've made in the past have been questioned, but then you look at the result, and they've always stayed top of the tree. So I'm not in the boardroom, but I do understand that the Sky's appetite is as strong as it always has been.
We are hearing the rumours that potentially Sky Sports is in conversation with Wasserman. That was a rumour that popped out. You said that the appetite is still there. I mean, could you confirm or not whether you'll be moving forward with BOXXER, or is Sky going to become, I don't know, several promoters can have several dates with yourselves and you just broadcast?
If I'm honest with you, I don't know. I know what I would suggest, but I've no idea. And I know what I'd suggest how it would work, but you know what? As I said, I'm not in the boardroom, so I don't know what they could do. And of course, I think competition's great. At one time, I know Sky had 3 or 4 promoters who were working with at one time, and
so it's nothing new to them then to do it that way.
It's nothing new to them at all. And in reality, let's do a make believe. How would I do it? I'd probably get 4 different promoters, give them 5 showing a piece each year, and then whoever performed the best at the end of each year would take a show off whoever performed the worst at the end of that year. So therefore, what would happen is every promoter would try the hardest to
put on the best show,
be the best. And even though they may be bidding in the same pool, they will make sure they put on the best shows. And so therefore, the fans benefit, the fighters benefit, and the TV benefits. That's what I would do. That's how I would look at it. And it's just, unfortunately, you know, what happens is when one individual is there in the helm, what happens is that individual loses sight of their initial intention. So competition's healthy as long as it's controlled and the rules are adhered to.
Yeah, and that's fine, and I appreciate, you know, you can't obviously go into ins and outs. I appreciate that you're in the boardroom, and obviously that is your opinion. That is not what Sky's doing. That is just your opinion. So to finish off, then Dillian Whyte goes up against, you know, the second coming of Christ, otherwise known as the man who parted the sea, Moses Itauma. I like that fight a lot. What are your thoughts on it? And I've seen Dillian, and I know he's taking his fight very seriously. He's in good shape, and he's keeping his cards very close to his chest. I've tried to get him to come on the channel, and he's shying away from it at the moment. But what do you think?
I know Billy McGurt's training with him there in Portugal, and Dillian likes to train. He likes to fight, so I don't think that'll be a question at all. I think, and Dillian himself said, I'm always cast as the underdog. You know, look at all the fights I've had. People have always thought, you know, so again, I like being the underdog. I want you to underestimate me. The one thing he's got that Tomo hasn't is experience. The only thing you can't buy, borrow, pretend to have. And so he's got that on him. He hasn't got youth on him. He's got a few more miles on the clock. So now he's got to use his fighting experience, his brain, his savvy, to navigate his way around this potential star coming through. And Dillian's got bottle, man. Dillian's a guy that's like, come on then, step it up, what you got? You know, so you can never question Dillian where he's coming from or what his intentions are. So I don't doubt he'll have trained to the best of his ability. But as I say, you know, you'd look at Moses, you think, you know, the way this boy's rising, he starts rising, and admittedly, the way Dillian's start is falling, you know, at this stage, Dillian's been at a higher level. So now it's like he's coming down, one man's coming up. He's thinking, if I'm going to go down, I'm going to drag everybody out with me. Come, you got to get through me first. So it's intriguing. It's very intriguing.
Any predictions on that fight?
Dillian's my boy, and you know, I've always got maximum respect for Dillian, but I think Moses might just be a bit of a handful for him.
Interesting. Listen, Johnny, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you. You know I love speaking to you anyway. We've got to stop leaving it so long, though.
That's you. You're just too busy. You're all over the world.
No, I know
I spoke to Don Charles yesterday. What was saying?
Oh, did you?
Yeah, because we're on about this gathering.
I see it just ritualistic. I didn't even bother getting into that. It's the hangers-on that bothered me.
Yeah, he's gathering, and he gave me a different perspective on, because I was very vocal in regards to how stupid I thought it was.
Oh, okay.
And he gave me a different perspective on how they looked at it. They were trying something different, and just because people aren't used to it, I was saying, well, that's not right. It doesn't mean it's not right. It just means, you know what, we're just trying something different. Mm-hmm. I think, and in regards to the gathering, Boris Johnson had a gathering. In regards to the gathering they had before the fight, the day of the fight. So he gave me a different perspective on it. So I've got to look at things differently. I'm thinking, yeah, maybe I was a bit too harsh because I was looking at it from my point of view. And I'll probably stick to my opinion. But you know what? that maybe it was about motivating Daniel mentally, stimulating him mentally, and putting him in a certain mindset, bad man mentality mindset for going in the ring. My point was this: if you're a fighter, if boxing's that easy, everybody would be doing it. If you're a fighter and you're going in and it's the day of battle, never mind the weeks and months of battle, you've got to be around like-minded people. So if you're around people that don't understand the game, that you're around people that, you know, sometimes you'll get somebody coming up to a flyweight saying, and when you're going to box Mike Tyson, they've no idea about the game. You know, so if you surround yourself by foolishness, no disrespect to the foolishness that's around you, but if you surround yourself by foolishness, you're only going to hear foolishness. So you need to surround yourself by like-minded people, especially on the day of being performing as a warrior. And so this gathering, party gathering, what do you say? To me, in my head, that it goes completely against the grain. I'm like, why would you surround him with them kind of people there? No disrespect to the people, but you've got to sit around with people that, because remember, you're going in the ring that same day to potentially beat the shit out of somebody, you know, or get the shit beaten out of you. Now, if the people around you aren't in that mindset, you're going to drop your guard. You're not going to think that way. You're not going to think, you know, you like it or not, their thought process will be in your head. You'll say, I'm going to do this, that, and like, oh my God, how would you possibly do that? That's negative. It's like, yes, bad man. You know, you want people that are on the same level of energy, same level of positivity, same level of success, to understand where it's coming from. And so that was my mind's absent thinking, why would you do that? You know, and in the dressing room, listen, I know fighters in the dressing room, some are quiet as mice. Sometimes some dressing rooms are noisy, it's pure noise, party atmosphere, and that used to be like that. But on the day of a fight, when you're supposed to preserve your energy, rest in your body, resting yourself to prepare for that energy burst that evening, I struggle. But Don was saying, look, we would try something new. It worked for the AJ fight, you know, so we thought it might wait for this. Yeah, it did. Things lined up right for him. I think the AJ we saw against Daniel had slipped past the AJ what we want to know.
Yeah, I'm very inclined to agree with you. The only thing I don't like is if you're going to do, you know, your ritual, you know, your pre-fight ritual, you still get to the arena with adequate time, because then it has a knock-on effect. And the only thing that did stand out to me, Johnny, an interview that his father did with Seconds Out as they were leaving the arena on fight nights, Radio Raheem, got to give him his credit. He was speaking to his father, like saying, well, you know, what's next? And then his father's almost said, well, you know, Daniel's he's a grown adult. He's got to make decisions for himself. But I'm thinking, isn't this the same man that controls everything he does? Why is it now that he's got to make the decision for himself?
Well, that's somebody that's taking responsibility for his actions. It's passing the book. And at that time, everybody's running for cover. It wasn't me, go.
Spot on.
And so that's what it sounds like.
And that's definitely what it sounds like. But on that note, Johnny, I've taken up so much of your time. Can we do this again in a couple of weeks? Do you think I can give you a call in a couple of weeks, so we should just keep this regular?
This is easy. I don't have to comb my hair.
I knew you'd like it.
I don't have to comb my hair.
You always like what I give you, and there's no secret about that.
Yeah, bring it on, sister. Bring it on. You know.
Yeah. I'm going to give you a call in a couple of weeks then, Johnny.
Right. You got me.
Thanks for listening to episode 1 of On a Call With, featuring former Cruiserweight World Champion, boxing pundit, and MBE Johnny Nelson. Please like, share, and subscribe to October Red on YouTube, and stay tuned for more episodes coming soon.